If you've ever served as a leader in the BSA, you are likely familiar with the various manuals and handbooks provided to help you learn about your position and do your job. For youth leaders, there's things like the Den Chief Handbook, the Patrol Leader's Handbook, and the Senior Patrol Leader Handbook, to name a few. As an adult, you may have seen manuals like the Den Leader's Handbook, the Troop Leader's Guidebook, and maybe even a series of Commissioner's Manuals now delivered in a PDF format online. Scouting professionals such as district executives, field directors, and scout executives have their own manuals and handbooks to help them learn their jobs and assist the volunteers in delivering the promise of scouting in the communities that they serve. Now, in the early days of scouting, a book called Community Boy Leadership was the manual provided to scout executives to teach them how to do their jobs. We'll learn more about this book and see what makes our copy so special in this edition of Artifact of the Week. Community Boy Leadership, a manual for scout executives, is more than just a handbook on how to do a job. It's a collection of personal experiences and tools used by some of the most successful and earnest leaders in the first 10 years of scouting in the United States. This particular copy is the second edition, published in 1922. Now, one of my favorite parts of the book is just inside the front cover, and is a diagram that shows the connection from the ideals of scouting, the Scout Oath and Law, through the National Council and the National Headquarters, through the local council, the charter organization, which was then referred to as the parent institution or organization, to the troop, and finally to the individual scout. Chapter 1 defines scouting as a national program of activities for local use, run by local men for the benefit of local boys. The chapter challenges the scout executive to not only train boys to serve their community, but to bring the community into a consciousness of its boy resources and probable wastage, and to help the community serve its boys. The local council's responsibility in the scouting program is also detailed as a very definite responsibility to the boys and to the nation to see to it that evidences are presented to it from time to time that real scout training and life is being experienced by their boys. They must see to it that their executive sees to it that mere entertainment or amusement of scouts, as important as these are, does not pass for the real thing. Scouting is a balanced program of pleasurable activities and of outdoor and life craft, but character building and citizenship habits through doing and living, these are in companionship of high-minded adults, are the real heart of the movement. The second chapter is about the executive himself, and one of my favorite parts is a story on time for home. In this story, a man is on a train and meets up with one of the most prosperous businessmen in the community. They engage in conversation, and the businessman asks the first man if he wants to know what he will give his son for Christmas. Now, the first man imagines how wonderful and expensive a gift from this wealthy man could be to his son. Then the business person pulls out a slip of paper that reads, "To my dear son, I give to you 1 hour each weekday and 2 hours of my Sunday, to be yours, to be used as you want without interference of any kind whatsoever." Now the man wonders how the son will react to this gift. Will he be disappointed or realize he's receiving a gift he can never repay? The man chooses to ask why he chose this gift for the son. The businessman replies that one day a derelict man comes into his office, and when he mentions his name, the businessman says, "Lad, to see you like this, and with such a father." The derelict man replies, "Well, I've often heard said that he was a fine man. All his friends have said so. I never knew him. He was so much occupied with his business and with his associations that I only saw him occasionally at meals. I never knew him." The businessman said, "That made me think, and so I am going to concentrate my time on having my boy know me." While I could go on and tell you about each and every chapter, I won't bore you with all these specific details. The book is a collection of the best practices, first-person accounts, and proven samples of processes, procedures, and paperwork that has helped some of the most successful councils and their executives deliver the promise of scouting to both their community and the boys within their communities during those first 10 years. But there is something about this book that does set our copy of the manual apart from others, and that is the signature of Daniel Carter Beard on the first page of the book, dated November 6, 1925. And on the title page, you'll find Best Wishes, James E. West, November 21st, 1925. Although I don't know for certain, it's likely that the owner of this book met both of those founders of the organization while undergoing Scout executive training during this step in his career. Now, while the manual is certainly a how-to book applicable to the organization in that time of its history, it remains full of stories, examples, and advice that are as relevant today as they were in 1922. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Join us next time as we continue to learn more about the history of the BSA through the collection of the National Scouting Museum and Artifact of the Week.